The city of Vera-9 never slept. It was a world rebuilt from war, half metal, half dust, and full of broken lives. Smoke from burned engines mixed with the light of alien suns, painting the sky in colors no human could name. Traders shouted across the streets, selling everything that still had value. And sometimes they even sold people. Commander Ryan Hale, a tall human with gray eyes and a soldier's calm, walked slowly through the crowd. He had survived the Galactic War, but not without scars. His uniform was gone, his medals long forgotten, but the habit of watching, measuring, and staying alert never left him. He wasn't here to buy. He was only delivering medicine to an orphan camp near the edge of the city. But as he passed through the slave market, a sound stopped him, a voice. Soft, trembling, but full of anger. "You paid for me. Now do it." The words cut through the noise. Ryan turned. Behind a metal cage stood a young alien woman. Her skin was pale violet, almost glowing under the harsh light. Her hair, white as snow, fell over her face, hiding her eyes. Chains wrapped around her wrists. She stood tall, proud even in captivity. The trader beside her grinned. "Treen female," he said. "Strong, young, still healthy. Half price because she talks too much." Ryan frowned. The Treen were once proud warriors, enemies of humanity during the war. Now most of them were poor, scattered, or enslaved. The war had destroyed their empire and left them starving. He told himself to walk away. This wasn't his fight anymore. Then the trader raised a whip. Before Ryan even realized it, he grabbed the man's arm. "Put that down," he said quietly. The trader sneered. "Who are you two?" Ryan's other hand moved faster. A small plasma pistol appeared at the man's side, its hum sharp and deadly. "I said," Ryan repeated, "put it down." The whip fell to the ground. The crowd went silent. No one interfered. The market had seen worse. Ryan turned to the alien girl. Her eyes lifted for the first time, deep blue, bright like twin stars. There was no fear there, only hatred and exhaustion. "How much?" Ryan asked. The trader hesitated. 4,000 credits. Ryan threw a pouch on the table. "She's free now." The trader laughed bitterly. "Free? There's no such thing as free here, human. You paid, you own her." Ryan ignored him and unlocked the cage. The girl stepped out slowly, her movements weak but graceful. The chains clanged as they fell to the ground. He handed her a blanket. "You're not a slave anymore." She stared at him with cold eyes. "You paid," she said again, her voice trembling. "That means I belong to you." Ryan sighed. "No, it means I had money. That's all." He started to walk away, expecting her to leave. But she followed, silent as a shadow. The night wind blew through the empty streets as Ryan reached his small outpost outside the city. It wasn't much, just metal walls, a small generator, and a single cot. He kept supplies, old weapons, and medical gear there. He turned to her. "You can stay until morning. Then you can go wherever you want." She didn't answer. She just stood near the door, looking at the stars. He noticed her hands shaking, though she tried to hide it. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lyra," she said after a pause. "Of House Treen." Ryan nodded. "I'm Ryan Hale." She gave no sign that she cared. He pointed to the small cot. "You can sleep there." "I'll sleep on the floor," she replied sharply. Humans like to own what they buy. Ryan rubbed his forehead. "Suit yourself." He turned off the lights and tried to rest. But sleep didn't come. The sound of rain began outside, the heavy metallic rain of Vera-9. Then in the dark, he heard her crying. Quiet, broken sobs muffled behind her hands. Ryan stared at the ceiling. He wanted to say something, but the words felt too heavy. The war had taken too much from both of them. Maybe silence was the only language left. Morning came cold and gray. Ryan cooked some protein stew and placed a bowl on the table. "Eat," he said. Lyra didn't move. "It's not poisoned," he added with a small smile. She looked at him, then at the food. Finally, she sat down and ate carefully. Her hands trembled less now. After breakfast, she asked in a flat tone, "Why did you save me?" Ryan shrugged. "Because someone should have." "That's not an answer," she said. "Maybe not," he admitted. "But it's the truth." For the first time, something like confusion touched her face. She looked away, staring out at the horizon where the burned metal towers met the orange sky. That evening, Ryan received a message from the city. Raiders had been spotted nearby pirates who captured refugees and sold them to slavers. He loaded his rifle and checked the defense turrets. "Stay inside," he told Lyra. "If anything happens, don't open the door." "I'm not helpless," she replied. "My people fought before your kind learned to stand upright." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Then you'll know how to follow orders." She glared at him, but the corner of her mouth twitched, almost a smile. The storm came fast. Thunder rolled and lightning flashed over the desert. Then came the sound Ryan dreaded. Engines. 4 raider bikes sped toward the outpost, red lights glowing in the dust. Ryan crouched near the window and took aim. The first shot hit true, bursting one engine in flames. The others returned fire, plasma bolts shaking the walls. "Lyra, stay down," he shouted, but she was already beside him, holding a plasma knife, eyes burning with fierce light. "I told you," she said. "I'm not helpless." They fought together. Ryan's shots were precise, controlled. Lyra moved like water, quick and silent. When the battle ended, 3 raiders lay dead outside, and 1 fled into the storm. The outpost was damaged, smoke rising from the roof. Ryan sat down, breathing heavily. "You're insane," he said between breaths. Lyra wiped blood from her cheek and looked at him. "You saved me once," she said quietly. "Now I saved you." She dropped the knife and walked outside. Rain poured over her face, washing away the dust and blood. She stood there, looking up at the storm, as if it belonged to her. Ryan watched from the doorway. In that moment, he didn't see an alien. He saw someone broken yet unbroken, fragile yet stronger than he had ever been. When she came back inside, he offered her his jacket. She hesitated, then took it. "Thank you," she whispered. Days passed. They worked together, repairing the walls, rebuilding the roof. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. It was strange, how silence between them no longer felt empty. One night, while Ryan fixed the power unit, Lyra sat near the firelight. "Humans think we are monsters," she said. "Maybe they are right." Ryan looked up. "You're not a monster." Her eyes met his. "You don't know what I've done." He smiled faintly. "You don't know what I've done either." For a second, her expression softened. "Maybe," she said, "we both did what we had to." Lightning flashed outside, lighting her face in silver and gold. Ryan suddenly realized something had changed. He didn't know when it happened, but the walls around his heart had started to crack. He looked away, afraid she might see it too. Later that night, as the storm faded, Lyra stood at the window watching the distant lights of the city. "If they find me," she said softly, "they'll take me back." "Then they'll have to go through me first," Ryan said. She turned to him, eyes wide. "Why would you risk that?" He shrugged. "Because someone should." She laughed quietly. It was the first time he heard her laugh. "You really don't know what you're doing." "Human," she said. "Probably not," he agreed. She looked down, then whispered, "Then maybe we're both fools." He took a slow breath. "I can live with that." For a long moment, they stood in silence. Outside, the stars appeared through the thinning clouds. The storm was over, but something else had begun. Lyra finally said, "You paid for me. You could have left me there." Ryan replied softly, "Maybe I didn't pay to own you." Maybe I paid to save myself. She didn't understand what he meant, but she felt it. Deep down, in the quiet place where her heart still dared to hope God, and that night, when she closed her eyes, she whispered his name for the first time. Ryan. Morning came slowly on Veronine. The storm had passed, leaving the air thick with the scent of burned metal and wet dust. Inside the outpost, Ryan Hawley woke to the soft sound of movement, someone humming. For a brief moment, he thought he was dreaming, but when he opened his eyes, he saw Lyra kneeling near the small fire, stirring a pot of food. The glow lit her violet skin like moonlight on water. She didn't notice he was awake. For the first time since he met her, she looked calm, peaceful. Ryan lay quietly, just watching. Something about the way she moved, steady, graceful, fragile but strong, made his chest tighten. After the war, he'd thought he could never feel warmth again. But here it was, sitting in his broken outpost, cooking breakfast. Lyra glanced up suddenly and caught him staring. "You should rest more," she said softly. "You almost died last night." Ryan smiled faintly. "And you saved me." "You didn't have to." "I didn't do it for you," she said quickly, turning away. "I did it because I didn't want to die." "Sure," Ryan said. "Whatever helps you sleep." She gave him a small glare, but her lips twitched, just slightly. Days passed into weeks. The outpost became their quiet world. They fixed broken generators, hunted small animals for food, and traded with passing merchants. At night, they talked, slowly at first, then more freely. Lyra told him about her people, about the great Trine cities that once floated in the skies. Ryan told her about Earth, the oceans, the green fields, the smell of rain that didn't burn metal. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they sat in silence, just listening to the hum of the wind. And slowly, the distance between them began to fade. One evening, Ryan found Lyra standing outside, looking at the stars. Her hair glowed silver in the faint moonlight. "Something wrong?" he asked. She hesitated before answering. "The stars," she said quietly. "They used to mean home. Now they mean nowhere." He walked beside her. "Then maybe," he said, "we find a new meaning." Lyra looked at him, really looked. There was no anger this time, just a tired kind of longing. She opened her mouth to say something, but instead, she turned away and whispered, "Good night, Ryan." But that night, she didn't sleep. A few days later, Ryan noticed her acting differently. She woke up late, ate little, and often sat by the window, lost in thought. He asked what was wrong, but she brushed him off every time, until one morning, he found her outside near the water tank, holding a small medical device in her hands. She didn't move as he approached. The device blinked with a soft blue light. "Lyra?" Ryan asked, his voice cautious. She turned slowly. Her eyes were wet, her voice trembling. I'm pregnant." The world went silent. Ryan froze. He stared at her, waiting for her to laugh, to tell him it was a mistake. But she didn't. She just stood there, terrified. "Are you sure?" he whispered. She nodded. "The scanner doesn't lie. It's early, but it's real." Ryan took a step closer, then stopped. Cross-species conception was nearly impossible, especially between humans and Trine. He had read reports, heard theories, but no one had ever proven it. Until now. "How?" he said softly, almost to himself. Lyra gave a small, broken laugh. "You really want me to explain that to you, human?" He sighed. "That's not what I meant." Her smile faded. "You don't understand," she said. "If they find out, if anyone finds out, they'll kill me. They'll take it from me. The humans will call it an abomination. My people will call it betrayal." Ryan felt a deep chill crawl up his spine. "Then we don't let them find out." Lyra looked up, her eyes wide. "You'd hide me? Hide this?" Yes, Ryan said without hesitation. You think I'd let them hurt you? Her lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time, she couldn't argue. That night, while the storm howled outside again, Ryan sat beside her. We can't stay here, he said. If the patrols scan this area, they'll find you. We need to leave. Leave? She repeated. To where? Every planet hates us. There's nowhere to go. There's always somewhere, he said. Lyra looked down at her hands, at the small scar on her wrist from the chains that once bound her. You don't even know why you're doing this, she whispered. Ryan met her gaze. Maybe not. But I know what happens if I don't. She shook her head. You'll be hunted. You'll lose everything. I already lost everything, he said quietly. This time, I choose what I keep. 2 nights later, they packed the essentials, a few weapons, some rations, medical supplies, and Ryan's old military chip. He hacked into the docks and found an old cargo ship scheduled for scrap. It wasn't fast, but it could fly. Lyra stood beside him in the hangar, her hood low, trembling slightly. Once we leave, she said, there's no coming back. Ryan smiled faintly. That's the plan. They boarded the ship just before dawn. The engines roared weakly, coughing dust and fire. Ryan's hands moved across the controls with practiced ease. Hold on, he said as the ship rose into the red sky. Lyra gripped the seat, eyes wide. The city below grew smaller, then disappeared into clouds. For the first time since her capture, she felt something strange. Freedom. She looked at Ryan and whispered, I never thought I'd see the stars like this again. He glanced at her. Get used to it. They're ours now. For weeks they drifted from system to system, avoiding patrols, living off what they could find. Sometimes they slept in the ship. Sometimes they landed on small moons to gather supplies. They talked less now, not because they had nothing to say, but because words were too small for what they felt. Lyra's body began to change. Ryan noticed how carefully she moved, how she sometimes rested her hand on her stomach when she thought he wasn't looking. One night, he asked gently, How are you feeling? She smiled faintly. Tired, hungry, scared. He nodded. All normal then. She gave a small laugh. Do you ever regret it? Regret what? Saving me. He thought for a long moment. Every soldier regrets what he didn't do, he said. Not what he did. Lyra looked at him for a long time, then whispered, You really don't see it, do you? See what? That somewhere between saving me and running away with me, you became mine. Ryan froze. Her words hit him harder than any bullet. He opened his mouth but said nothing. Lyra looked away, her voice softer now. And maybe I became yours too. The peace didn't last. 3 weeks later, a galactic patrol ship intercepted them near the Darien Belt, a massive field of asteroids. The message came through instantly. Unregistered vessel, stop your engines. This is the Human Federation Patrol. You are carrying a Treen fugitive. Surrender immediately. Lyra's face turned pale. Ryan, he slammed his hand on the control. No, they're not taking you. The patrol ship fired warning shots. Energy bolts cut through space, lighting the cockpit. Ryan's ship shook violently. They'll destroy us. Lyra cried. Then we make them miss, Ryan said, gripping the controls. He dove into the asteroid field, weaving between giant spinning rocks. The patrol ship followed. Ryan! Lyra screamed. He gritted his teeth. Hold on. The ship's alarms screamed. A blast tore through the left engine. Fire erupted. They were going down. Lyra reached for him, shouting over the noise. If we die, we die together. Ryan smiled weakly. Not today. He slammed a final command into the console. A desperate course toward a nearby green planet. The ship broke through the atmosphere, trailing smoke and flame. Then everything went white. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was lying in soft grass. The air was clean, full of strange, sweet scents. Above him, 2 suns shone through a violet sky. He turned his head and saw Lyra lying beside him, breathing slowly. Her hand rested protectively on her stomach. "Lyra," he whispered, crawling toward her. "Are you—" She opened her eyes weakly. "We made it?" He nodded, smiling. "Barely." Her lips curved into a tired smile. "Then maybe the stars forgive us after all." Ryan looked around. Endless forests, blue rivers, no cities, no soldiers. "A hidden world. We can stay here," he said softly. "No one will find us." Lyra closed her eyes. "Home," she whispered. "For us. And for her." "Her?" Ryan repeated. Lyra smiled faintly, touching her stomach. "I can feel her. She's strong. Like you." Ryan stared at her for a long moment. Then he placed his hand gently over hers. "Then we'll make sure she's free." The wind blew through the grass, carrying away the smoke of the past. And for the first time in years, Ryan Halley, soldier, survivor, human, felt something he had forgotten long ago. Hope. The world they found had no name. To Ryan, Halley, and Lyra, it was simply home. Green forests stretched as far as they could see. Rivers ran silver under 2 suns. At night, the sky glowed with blue stars that moved like slow-breathing creatures. The air smelled of wet soil and freedom. For the first few weeks, they lived like ghosts. They built a small shelter from the ship's broken metal. Ryan hunted small beasts. Lyra grew pale fruits that sparkled under sunlight. They spoke little, slept close, and listened to the wind that sounded almost like a song. Then one night, when thunder rolled beyond the hills, Lyra screamed. Ryan ran inside the hut. She was on the floor, clutching her stomach. Her breath came fast, sweat shining on her skin. "It's time," she gasped. Ryan froze. He had fought wars, killed men, faced death 100 times, but this terrified him. "I don't know what to do," he shouted. Lyra laughed through pain. "You're a soldier, Ryan. You'll always figure it out." Hours passed like years. The sky outside burned red with dawn. Then a cry filled the air. Thin, sharp, alive. A child. Ryan lifted the small creature in trembling hands. She was tiny, glowing faintly with violet light. Human eyes, tree markings, soft silver hair. The most perfect thing he had ever seen. Lyra smiled weakly. "She's beautiful." Ryan nodded, his throat tight. "Yeah, she is. What will you call her?" Lyra asked. He looked at the rising sun. "Hope," he said. "Because she's the first thing that makes me believe again." Months passed. Hope grew quickly. She laughed at everything, at rain, at birds, even at Ryan's beard when it scratched her cheek. Lyra taught her to speak both human and tree words. Ryan taught her to climb trees and throw stones straight. Life became simple, peaceful, but peace never lasts. One afternoon, Ryan noticed a flicker in the sky, a metal flash that didn't belong to clouds. His blood ran cold. He grabbed his old scanner. The signal blinked red. "Incoming ship." Human Federation code. Lyra stepped beside him, holding Hope. "They found us," she whispered. Ryan's jaw tightened. "I'll make sure they don't take you." "Ryan," Lyra said softly, "you can't fight them all." He looked at her. "I can try." That night, they sat together outside the hut. Hope slept between them, wrapped in Ryan's old jacket. The stars glimmered silently above. Lyra took a deep breath. "If something happens," she said, "promise me one thing." "What?" "Promise me you'll protect her. No matter what." Ryan turned to her. "We'll protect her. Both of us." Lyra smiled sadly. "That's not what I meant." He reached out, holding her hand tightly. "Don't talk like that. We'll survive. We always do. She didn't argue, but in her eyes, he saw she already knew that morning came with fire. The sky split open as a Federation dropship roared through the clouds. Dust exploded around the valley. Ryan pushed Lyra and Hope toward the cave behind the hill. "Stay there," he shouted. "Don't move until I come back." Lyra caught his arm. "Ryan," he kissed her quickly. "I'll be fine." Then he ran. The soldiers came in silver armor, their faces hidden behind mirrored helmets. They spread across the clearing with rifles raised. Ryan stepped out of the shadows, rifle in hand. "There's no one here but me," he said. "You're wasting your time." The lead officer's voice echoed through his helmet. "Commander Hale, you're under arrest for treason and genetic violation. Surrender the Treen female and the hybrid child." Ryan raised his weapon. "You'll have to kill me first." "So be it." The first shot cracked through the air. Ryan rolled behind a fallen trunk, returning fire. Plasma bolts cut through smoke and leaves. The ground shook. He fought like the soldier he once was. Every movement clean, every breath controlled. But there were too many. He was hit in the shoulder, fell, got up again. His vision blurred, but he didn't stop that until a scream broke through the chaos. "Ryan!" Lyra, she was running toward him, energy glowing from her hands, the old Treen power. The one her people once used to bend metal and light. Blue fire erupted around her, forming a shield that threw soldiers back. Ryan stared in disbelief. "Lyra, no!" She turned to him, smiling through tears. "Now I save you again." She raised both hands. The light grew blinding. A wave of energy burst out, throwing everything into silence. When Ryan opened his eyes, the battlefield was gone. The soldiers lay scattered, their weapons melted. Smoke drifted across the clearing. He crawled to Lyra. She was lying on the ground, barely breathing, the light fading from her skin. "Lyra," he whispered, shaking her gently. "Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open. "Did we win?" He laughed weakly, tears mixing with dirt. "Yeah, we won." She smiled faintly. "Then it's okay." "No, it's not," he said. "You're going to be fine. We'll fix this. She touched his lips with her fingers. "Promise me," she whispered, "you'll tell her who I was. Tell her I wasn't a slave. I was free." Ryan's voice broke. "You were more than that. You were everything." Lyra's hand slipped from his cheek. Her eyes stayed open, still looking at him, still full of light. And then she was gone. The world fell silent. Ryan buried her beneath a tall silver tree by the river. He placed her old necklace on the grave, a small crystal that caught the light and turned it blue. Hope stood beside him, holding his hand. "Where did Mama go?" she asked softly. Ryan swallowed hard. "She went to the stars." The little girl looked up. "Will she come back?" He forced a smile. "She never really left." Hope looked at the sky, then pointed. "That one," she said, choosing the brightest star. "That's Mama." Ryan nodded. "Yeah, that's her." Years passed. The Federation never returned. Maybe they believed the planet uninhabited after the battle. Maybe they feared what they couldn't understand. Either way, Ryan and Hope lived on. She grew fast, faster than a human child, smarter than either race could explain. She built machines from old ship parts, healed wounds with a touch, and spoke to animals as if they understood her. Ryan saw Lyra in her every smile, every spark of defiance. Sometimes at night, Hope would climb to the top of the hill and whisper to the stars. Ryan never asked what she said. He knew she was talking to her mother. One evening, as the sun set and the world turned gold, Hope sat beside Ryan by the fire. She was nearly grown now, her silver hair glowing in the dusk. "Dad," she said softly, "why do you still wear that old ring?" Ryan looked down at his hand. The simple metal band had once belonged to his uniform, a symbol of duty. Now it meant something else, because it reminds me that love is a promise, he said. Not a law, not a rule, just a choice we keep making. Hope smiled. Is that what you chose when you saved Mom? He nodded. Yes, and every day since. She looked up at the stars, her eyes shining. Then maybe it's my turn to choose. Ryan frowned. What do you mean? I can feel them, she said quietly. Out there. Others like me, scared, hiding, half human, half something else. They need a home. Ryan's heart ached. Hope, she stood, taller now, older somehow. You and Mom gave me life, she said. Now I have to give it meaning. He wanted to stop her, but when he saw the light in her eyes, the same light Lyra once had, he couldn't. He smiled through tears. Then go, show them what we fought for. Hope hugged him tightly. I love you, Dad. I love you too, kiddo. She stepped back, lifted her hand, and the air around her shimmered. Energy swirled, blue and white. A small craft, built from the old wreck, rose behind her. She climbed inside, looked down at him one last time and whispered, goodbye. The ship rose into the sky, turning toward the stars, toward her mother. Ryan watched until it disappeared into the night. Then he sat by the fire, looking at the ring on his hand and the star above the tree. He smiled. "'Cause she really is yours, Lyra," he said softly. "She got your fire." The wind moved through the trees, gentle and warm, almost like a whisper in reply. And somewhere beyond the stars, in the endless dark between worlds, the story of a human and an alien woman, the soldier and the slave who became free, began to spread again, a story told in every tongue, in every world that still believed in love. The story of 6 simple words. You paid for me. Now do it.